like me? And I'd be like, I don't know, you know, like,
yeah.
I would literally have to look at like history of stuff. Like, it's almost like I would have to look at my own past for clues, right?
Yeah.
Like on how I felt. And so.
Because you're being altered, right? You're being altered and not.
Yeah, it was too hard to get like a real feeling out of myself. And so I was like, man, I got to have some feelings or I'm not going to be able to make some choices for myself.
Good for you. That's really awesome. But I want you to know how the normal treatment is to put you on antidepressants and therapy, or one or the other or both, right? So I asked the guys at Stanford, I said, you want to study it? Well, what are the meta-studies? You know, when you have multiple studies, they give you the averages. And they said, well, the meta-studies show that 60% of the people who take antidepressants, and now they know SSRIs don't even work. There was a whole cover of Newsweek. A year ago in September, did you not know this?
Nobody emailed me. I've been taking it for 17 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't get
Go
it.
look at September of 2022, cover of Newsweek, says meta-studies show the SSRIs don't work, but we keep selling them, right?
No, then what am I doing?
But watch this. Here's the stats. 60% don't improve at all. 40% of people improve. The average improvement, according to meta-studies, is 50%. So they're half as depressed as they were. Now, some people get well, but it's a very small percentage. So I said, you could almost do that with a placebo. And the guy laughed and said, yeah. I said, well, what's the best study you've ever done? The most effective study in science? They said there was a study done at Johns Hopkins about 5 years ago. Pardon me?
And what
this is from Stanford.
Who's Johns Hopkins?
Johns Hopkins Hospital has some of the best researchers and so forth.
Oh, good.
Right? And so they did this study, and here's what they did. They gave people psilocybin for a month, magic mushrooms, and cognitive therapy. I said, well, you ought to get some change out of that. He goes, yeah. It was the greatest change they've ever seen in the history of psychiatry. 6 weeks after treatment, 54% of the people had no symptoms of depression.
Dude, I take 4 stems and a Diet Coke. I'll talk to my sister for an hour, you know? So I fully support that, sir.
But unfortunately...
So you're saying there's new methods.
There's new methods, but I said, okay, that's amazing. But I said, I think we'll do better, but let's see. So they did a group. They modeled that same drug study, did the same thing with me with no drugs. I put people in this 6-day seminar I have called Date with Destiny, and they picked all the people and put them all clinically.
That's your annual seminar, right?
Yeah, it's the one we do once a year. Yeah. And what was amazing was the results were so profound that they didn't want to get canceled, so they sent the data blind out to 3 other organizations before they published it, and they published it in the Journal of Psychiatry last year. Results, 6 weeks later with no drugs, just 6 days of rewiring your brain, 100% of the people, no depression whatsoever. Even better, 17% of the people had suicidal ideation, no suicidal ideation. Here's the best part. 11 months later, they followed up. 72% reduction in negative emotions, still no depression, 52% improvement in positive emotions. So when you make a shift in the way you use your brain and it gets conditioned, and it does get conditioned, so they were studying how it works. And so there's a biochemical change that actually happens in the body.
Perspective, that's the thing. It's like, you got to change, like, instead of just being like, I want to have this New Year's resolution, another rule for myself, I need to change the ruler.
That's
right.
You got it.
It's like that's what I need to change. But a lot of people, times we don't even see that we're the ruler.
Yeah. That's a great metaphor.
This episode is sponsored